Hello friends, about 70% of the friends who watch my videos are not subscribed, and I would be very happy if you did. Also, don't forget to press the like button and leave your comments. Your interaction makes the content reach everyone and contributes to the growth of the channel. Thank you all. From which country or city do you follow the channel? I used to think the things floating in orbit were just space junk, until I heard my own voice coming from one of them. I'm not allowed to say the name of the organization I work for. Not because I'm loyal, but because I'm afraid. Afraid that if I speak its name out loud, it will hear me. I'm one of the few people who've had direct contact with the Black Knight satellite, an unidentified object that has silently orbited Earth for centuries. It defies gravity, belongs to no nation, and by all known laws of physics, it simply shouldn't exist. But I didn't just see it, I heard it. It doesn't emit normal signals, no language, no readable radio waves. What it sends down are sound fragments, and when pieced together they become memories. Memories that aren't mine, but I remember them as if I've lived every second. I was stationed at a remote observation outpost in the Arctic. Everything there followed a strict set of bizarre rules: no mirrors, no speaking to yourself, speaking to. And if your watch resets to E000 on its own no matter what, do not open the door. I broke one of those rules. And ever since that night, I'm not sure I'm still me anymore. I wasn't looking for a new job. In fact, I hadn't applied to anything in over a year. I was working night shifts at a civilian radio observatory in northern Alaska, isolated, underpaid, and numbingly quiet. And then, I got the envelope. There was no return address. The paper was thick, slightly textured, sealed in wax with no insignia. Inside was a letter typed in plain courier font. You've heard it. We know you have. You are needed. Do not share this. That was all. No phone number, no contact name. Just GPS coordinates in Greenland, a date and time, and a one-way plane ticket already booked under my name. I should have thrown it away. I should have reported it. But I didn't. The flight wasn't commercial. I boarded a small, unmarked jet from Anchorage. The pilot never spoke to me. The other passengers, only 2 of them, wore black coats and noise-canceling headsets. I tried to ask where we were going. No one even looked at me. Hours later, we touched down on a frozen strip of nothing. A black SUV with covered plates was already waiting, engine running. The man who met me didn't introduce himself. He handed me a parka and a thick folder marked Level 3 Compliance. I wasn't allowed to keep my phone. I wasn't allowed to speak unless instructed. The observatory was built into a glacier. No signs, no flags, no satellite dishes visible from above. The entrance was a steel door embedded into a sheer white cliff, guarded by 2 silent figures with reflective face shields. Inside, it was warmer, but only slightly. Everything smelled of metal disinfectant and old electronics. There were no windows, no mirrors, and no clocks. My room was a concrete cube with a cot, a desk bolted to the floor, and one single red bulb that never turned off. The walls were padded. I remember asking myself, am I here to study something? Or am I being studied? On my second day, I was escorted to a dark room lit only by a projector. A series of sound recordings were played. White noise, static, beeps, whispers. One of them. I swear to God I heard my name spoken in my own voice, but distorted like it was underwater. Then the voice behind the glass said, "You've been exposed. The signal has already touched your pattern. Welcome." Before they took me to my workstation, I was handed a thin metal wristband. It had no buttons, just a glowing line that pulsed with a slow rhythm. "This keeps track of your exposure," the man said. "If it resets to 0, run. Don't ask. Don't hesitate." I stared at him. Run from what he didn't answer. And that was my first night, alone, underground. No clocks, no connection to the outside world. Just me, the silence, and the faint pulsing light on my wrist. They never gave me a manual. No printed guide. No orientation. Just a laminated sheet taped to the inside of my locker door. Titled, Protocol Observer, Behavioral Compliance, Reorbital Entity, BKS. It listed 7 rules. No context, no explanations. Each one was bold, capitalized, and written like a warning, not advice. Reflections create inconsistencies. They are aware. I didn't think much of this one at first. until I caught a glimpse of myself in the reflection on a microwave door. Just a flash. But my reflection didn't match me. It smiled. I didn't. From that point on, all reflective surfaces were removed from the common rooms. Even spoons were dulled. The only place with a mirror was medical, and even then it was covered by a black cloth unless absolutely necessary. Avoid vocal labels. Do not speak its title aloud. Use only the object, the satellite, or BK. I had called it Black Night once in the hallway. The lights above me flickered violently, and my earpiece buzzed with distorted feedback. No one said anything. But later in my bunk I heard whispering outside my door, repeating my words back to me but out of sync, delayed by a half second. Like an echo from a place I didn't want to imagine. If contact occurs beyond the window, report immediately and isolate. I broke this rule. Not intentionally. One night the waveform data glitched and looped. I thought I could fix it, but I ended up hearing it too long, 18 seconds, maybe more. The sound wasn't like a voice. It was like memory being poured into my skull. I saw flashes of a child crying in a language I didn't know, a city I'd never visited being swallowed by static. For days after I couldn't sleep. Worse, I began to understand parts of the signal. I shouldn't have. No one could. Do not engage. Do not speak. Leave the area and report the event. I thought it was a prank at first, someone wearing a second hazmat suit. But when I saw it, standing still in the hallway outside the comms room, it turned toward me at the exact same time I turned my head like a mirror, but there was no glass. And then it blinked, but I hadn't. I turned and ran. Proceed to sub-level C vault immediately. Remain until the time cycle restores. The wristband had always pulsed a faint white light, a rhythm I'd grown used to. But one night during a solar interference window it blinked red, then reset to 0000. Alarms didn't go off. No one came to get me. Just silence. I followed protocol and ran to the vault. Inside it was pitch black, no lights, no air vents, just the thick silence of reinforced steel and darkness pressing in. After what felt like hours, I opened the door. The hallway had changed. It was longer, and something had left wet footprints leading out of the vault, matching my boots. But I had never walked that path. Voices may use familiar tones. Do not respond. One night the intercom crackled softly above my bunk. Hey, it's me. Open the door. It's safe now. You don't have to be alone. It was my voice. Exactly mine, the tone, the hesitation, even the sigh I always made before talking. I didn't answer, but I heard the doorknob rattle. When I checked the hallway camera, the footage was corrupted, just static, and my face staring directly at the lens frame by frame. If you wake up with blood from the ears or eyes, report to medical. If you remember it speaking to you, do not write it down. It was the only rule I laughed at when I first read it. I don't laugh anymore. Because some nights I dream of orbit. I float in space looking down at Earth, and the satellite hovers near me, massive obsidian silently watching. And sometimes, it's open, like it has a mouth. And sometimes, I hear my voice whispering back from inside it. I didn't mean to break the rule. It just happened. It was a routine signal shift. 2:42 a.m. Most of the team was asleep and I was on solo duty in the control room buried 3 floors beneath the ice. My screen began flashing BKS uplink active. I tapped a few keys preparing to isolate the signal. But the audio system glitched, skipping past the usual filters. The waveform suddenly surged, and I heard it. 13 seconds. 14. 15. I should have stopped it. But by the time I reached for the kill switch, I was already somewhere else. I wasn't dreaming. I was remembering. But they weren't my memories. A child sobbing in a metal room looking up at a sky made of static. A city crumbling under invisible pressure. People screaming but their mouths weren't moving. A voice humming in reverse, something like my own, but deeper. Older. When I snapped back, I was on the floor. The signal had stopped. My nose was bleeding. The clock on my terminal blinked 03:13 a.m. The the same time it always starts in the recordings. I logged the breach, but no one responded. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept hearing my own footsteps outside my door, perfectly in sync with my breathing. When I opened it, the hallway was empty. Except there was a figure standing at the far end just beyond the red emergency light. Same build, same posture, same wristband. It turned toward me at the same time I turned my head, just like before. Except this time, it raised its hand and slowly pointed at me. Then it stepped backward and vanished into the dark. The next day, I checked the logs. There had been no scheduled transmission from BKS. Nothing. But my headset began buzzing again even though it was turned off. I put it on. Just static. Then, "You stayed too long. We are remembering you now." My own voice, but slowed down. As if it was being pulled from a place outside time. The lights flickered. The comms room went cold. Frost began forming inside the glass of the observation window, and written across it in reversed letters, "We are the mirror." Later that evening, I found a new file on my private terminal. It wasn't there before, just a single video, no metadata. I opened it. It was me filmed from a downward angle, as if a camera had been placed in the corner of my room. I was asleep on the cot, tossing, sweating. Then the me in the video sat up, suddenly stared directly at the lens and whispered, "Don't answer the intercom tonight. It's not them, it's me." But it's not. The video ended with static. I deleted it immediately. Or at least I thought I did. But every night since it keeps coming back, same file, same timestamp. Only now, the whisper is getting closer to the mic, like I'm leaning in. The final straw came 4 nights later. I was in the corridor heading to the data center when my wristband, always calmly pulsing, white blinked red. Then reset. Oro 0. No alarm. No one else in sight. Only me. And the countdown to whatever that number meant. I ran to the vault, sealed the hatch, and waited. The light inside the vault began dimming like something was siphoning it away. Then I heard it. Footsteps outside, pacing, mimicking mine, and breathing, exactly like mine. There was a knock, 3 slow taps, then my voice. "It's okay. I forgot something in there. Let me in." I didn't move. "Please. I'm cold." I placed my hand over my mouth and just listened as the breathing continued. But then I realized something horrifying. The knock wasn't on the vault door. It was inside. Something inside me shifted the moment I heard that knock. Not just fear, something deeper. Like my mind recognized a pattern it wasn't supposed to. Like a door had opened inside my brain, and something had stepped through. I stayed in the vault for 5 hours. When I finally opened the door, the hallway was different. Longer. Wrong. There were no lights, no pipes, no camera mounts, just walls, slick dark, pulsing slightly like muscle tissue. The air buzzed with a low frequency that made my teeth ache. I followed the footprints, mine leading down the corridor. Each step echoed twice. And then I saw it. A terminal glowing faintly at the far end. A file already opened on the screen. Subject Observer Unit 17 status. Mirrored identity drift. 76% vocal pattern drift, 84% containment recommended. I hadn't typed this, but it was dated 2 days in the future. Behind me, something moved, not loud, just present. I turned. It was me, or something wearing me. Same hazmat suit, same posture. But the faceplate was cracked, and behind the glass, the face was off, slightly asymmetrical. One eye twitched constantly. The mouth moved like it was chewing invisible words. Then it spoke. "You shouldn't have listened. You shouldn't have looked." I backed away, hand on my sidearm, but it didn't approach. It just pointed at the screen behind me, then slowly raised its own hand to its throat, mimicking a cutting motion. "They remember you now," it whispered. "And soon, you'll remember being me." Everything went dark. Not like the lights went out, like the concept of light was erased. Sound vanished. Gravity felt inverted. I floated or fell or hovered in some impossible direction. And then came the noise. Not a scream. Not a signal, something in between. A chorus of my own voice, layered and stretched, looping fragments of my life. Don't answer. The knock. It's me. It's not. Please. I'm cold. I felt my body pulled forward through the wall, through the floor, into the satellite. I wasn't at the facility anymore. I was outside Earth, looking down, and something was inside me. Uploading, duplicating, compressing me into signal. I jolted awake on my bunk. Same red bulb, same metal cot. Everything looked normal, except for one detail. My wristband, the one that used to pulse white, was now completely black. No light, no time. And scratched into the wall above my head with what looked like my own fingernail were 4 words: "You are not you." I checked the security feed. Footage showed me never leaving the vault. It showed me still inside, sitting motionless, head down. But I was right here watching it. I blinked, and for a split second, the reflection on the screen blinked later than I did. I don't know how much time I have. If you're watching this, if you're hearing my voice, you're already being observed. I'm not broadcasting this to warn you about it. I'm warning you about me. After that night, the night the hallway changed, the night I saw myself, reality never settled again. Some mornings, I'd wake up to see myself already standing at the terminal, typing. I started recording everything. Journals, video logs, hourly voice notes. But each time I reviewed them, I wasn't saying the same things I remembered saying. My tone was off. The eyes, not mine. Worse, sometimes I'd listen back and I'd hear 2 voices layered together. Mine, and something beneath it. Whispering, mimicking, distorting. 3 nights ago, I decoded a transmission from BKS. It wasn't data. It wasn't interference. It was a looped sentence in my own voice. "You are the signal now. Pass it on." And the waveform wasn't random. It was shaped like a fingerprint. Mine. The other staff don't look at me anymore. They don't speak. They don't blink. Yesterday, I watched the security feed. At exactly 02:17 a.m., every person in the facility turned toward the nearest camera. At the same time, including me. Except, I don't remember doing that. Earlier today, I found a cassette on my desk. Unlabeled, old, dusty. When I played it, I heard my own voice describing things I hadn't experienced yet. The backup generator will fail at 3:04. The door will open even though it's locked, and when you run, you'll see yourself again. Don't let him speak. I smashed the tape, but the sound kept playing. From inside the walls, I tried to leave. I packed what I could, ignored protocol, and made it to the ice lift. But when the doors opened, the man waiting outside was wearing my suit. He smiled, and I saw just for a second the stars reflected in his eyes, but they weren't the right constellations. "You're not done broadcasting," he said. He handed me this recorder, and then he walked back into the station. He never looked back. So this is it. I don't know who you are, or where you're watching this from, but if you've heard the signal, if you've seen the thing in the sky, if you've ever felt like you were being watched from above even when alone, it's already begun. They don't need to invade. They don't need to land. They just need us to remember, to replay, to echo, to pass it on. Static. Then, a close-up of the narrator staring directly into the lens, whispering, "Tell me, do you remember being me?" The screen glitches, the image freezes, but the voice continues and morphs into the viewer's own. If you found this story valuable and interesting, please hit the like button. This really helps us bring you more good and valuable content. Leave a comment below and let us know what you think, what questions you have, or what topics you would like us to cover next. We love hearing from you. Of course, hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss our next stories. Thank you for taking the time to read my stories.